Hello crafters, it's Dawn here from Dawn's Inspirations. I wanted to share with you the slider card mini album. I showed you the slider card in the first video and I'm now going to show you how to make a mini album with this. And to make this I'm using some freebie paper and stamps. This came with a magazine called Simply Cards and Papercraft, and this is issue number 120. So in here you've got a 6x6 paper stack of 24 double-sided sheets, and this is the Jodeli's Maribel collection from Prima. So Jodeli is the dark designer here, and they're all double-sided and good quality, so that's a great pad to use. And also in the freebie in the magazine you also got a set of stamps as well, so I thought we'd use those. So I thought we'd use some freebies. So we're just going to use those. I've got some ribbon to coordinate as well. As I say, we're going to make 4 pages to go in this album. So you're going to need 4 lengths of 24-inch ribbon. Okay, so make sure you've got enough ribbon for that. And then I'm using some cream cardstock, just some basil and some green cardstock. I'm going to use green for my pages. I'm going to make 4 pages and I'm going to use cream for the inside. Let me move that out of the way a minute. The cover we're going to make for the album is going to be the good old cereal packet cover. So I've already gone ahead and cut my cereal packet. So I've just used a normal cereal packet here, and the covers for this, to give us a bit of leeway around our pages, are 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So the main square is 6.5 inches either side, and then you've got the hinge. And by having it at the 6.5 inches, it then means it takes my 6x6 pattern papers. But obviously there's a border around the edge. So rather than covering the cover, this time for something different, I've just used some acrylic paint and I've gone around the edges. And even on this side I've covered all the hinge at the moment, the back at the moment. I've even put 2 coats on. So I've just put 2 coats of acrylic paint. So I'll just leave that to one side to dry. So really this album's going to work out very economical to make. So let's get started. So we're going to start off by doing the pages. Now if I show you here, I've prepared 2 pages already. Now rather than cutting 1 page out of a sheet of 12 by 12 and wasting paper, I've jiggled it a bit. So what I've done is I've done the measurements to cut 1 piece there and 1 piece there. So the only bits we're throwing away are 2 quarter pieces here, so we can miter our corners. They're the only 2 bits that come out. And then this means we can get 2 pages out of 1 sheet of 12 by 12. It also means the pages are measuring 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, which is a good size as well for adding your 6x4 photographs. So I'll show you how we make the pages. So as I said, I've done 2. So if you follow my score lines, we can go ahead and make another 2. So we're going to start off by scoring at 5 3/4 inches and 6 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to turn that over to just double score that. I'm just using basil cardstock as I say. Then I want you to quarter turn. So your 2 lines are going that way. This time I want you to do a 1/2 inch score line, but only down to this second line. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch score line just down to the second line. I'm not going to double score this at this stage because I think everyone's going to get in a muddle. And then what I want you to do then is do another 1/2 turn. So we're going quarter, 1/2 turn, and I want you to do another 1/4 inch line down to the second score line. That's come out of the channel, sorry. I've got something in my scoreboard. Very good, is it? Right, let's try again a third time. It's just down to that second score line there. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is to flip your paper over. By flipping it over now, you've got no score lines here, and you've got your 1/2 inch score line on this right hand side. I now want you to come across to 5 3/4 inches, and I want you to score down to the first score line. Okay, and then going to get you to do a half turn again. So 1/4, 1/2. Again, no score lines. You've got your 1/2 inch score line on this side. You've got nothing on this side. You're going to come across again to 5 3/4 and go down to the first line. Okay, that's all the scoring we're going to do at the moment. And then the next thing I want you to do is, as you look at your paper, the bit where you've got your score line at the bottom here, and this is plain, I want you to cut down to the first score line. I'm just doing this with my scissors. I could do it with my paper trimmer, but I feel more in control with my scissors. So I'm just going down to that first score line. I'm then going to half turn, so I'm 1/4 turn, half turn. I'm going to do the same again. I'll try to get the camera as close as possible so you can see what I'm actually doing. Okay, so that's now looking like that. We now need to go across, so we can then divide our 2 pages off. Do a mitre, and that now makes 2 pages. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and score, double score where I haven't double scored, if you like. So it was across this one, wasn't it? So that was 5 3/4. Just check all these are double scored. Yeah, they all look fine. I'll just recheck these just so I know. Yeah, I'll do the same again with this one. It may seem a bit complicated, but I just don't like wasting paper, and I wanted you to get the most from the paper that you've got. And also, by using a freebie paper collection as well, we're really, you know, going to make a great album here for very little cost, which I think is great. So I'm going to bring my mat in now so we can do some burnishing of our fold lines. So get my bone folder. Flat score that. I'm using the textured side of this basil for the outside, but it's entirely up to you, and obviously it depends what paper collection that you're using. You might have smooth cardstock. What I'm going to do now is, like with the card, you've got your square. We're going to just snip that off, so when we fold it closed, we've got a nice mitre, so we can then throw that piece away. So I'm going to just do the same on this second one with you. Right way round. So as I say, these pages are coming at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, so they're just under the 6-inch mark. But it means we can use our paper collection. And we've made the most of a piece of 12 by 12 paper as well. So that's our pages. So I've now got 4 of these pages made. So I'm going to go ahead now and get these decorated. So So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Before we decorate those, we need to now cut the slider bits to go inside our cards. So these are going to measure, I think they're going to go 5.5. Yeah, I think we do 5.5 by 5.5. So to do that, I'm going to use some of the cream cardstock this time, so it got a bit of a contrast, and it matches in nicely with the paper collection that I'm using as well. So we're going to go 5.5 by 5.5 for the inserts. So just make sure that's all lined up. That's one. We're going to need 4 of these. So we've got 4 of those. That's for our inserts. Now, as I say, if you want to go ahead and decorate, but don't actually stick your pages together at this stage, because we need to then attach them to the hinge. That's why I don't want you sticking anything together at the moment. But how you're going to have them is, this is going to attach to your hinge, and then so this top flap's going to come down. So you need to have your pattern papers obviously looking up that way and looking up that way, and then that's the insert for your slider card, so that needs to be looking up that way as well. So you need to now go ahead and decorate. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages to decorate on each of your pages. So there's 4 of those. So if you want to go ahead, I'm going to get my pattern paper and get it trimmed up and stuck down, and then I'll be back with you.